Hey everyone, this is Sunny Justice from It's a Crime and Shame. So, for everyone that's following the Jack and Lily case again, please hit that like and that share button. Now, I am going to release audio 1 and audio 2. Well, I guess there'll be videos, but in saying that, I am releasing them because although I did not release these publicly, somebody did, so it was time that they both were heard, and they were allowed to be heard. According to Darren Geddes, who gave permission during each audio that the information could be put out there. And also with the information at the time that he said that couldn't, well, on Hidden in the Fog, he also disclosed the information about Rob McIntyre, I believe his name was, or no, sorry, Jordan McIntyre. So bottom line is that, again, please keep in mind that these were 6 to 7 months ago, July and August, somewhere in that time frame. I think it was towards the end of July, somewhere in there, July 18th, 19th, somewhere around there, and I think before mid-August. Anyways, so keep in mind that, again, in this particular case with what people will know as Derwood O'Grady, aka Darren, aka all the other names and pseudonames he has. But this was simply about letting someone talk. Okay, so when it comes to a case and this information, he wanted to call and talk to me and go on lives and stuff like that. Again, I'm going to let someone talk, and I'm going to keep getting them to talk if they're willing to. And in this case, Darren Geddes was more than willing to talk and, put out the information. So keep that in mind as you're listening to these. And again, please hit the like and share for Jack and Lily. It's a very sad case. And I know that all the people that are following this case, their hearts are broken and they just want answers. And with that being said, so I'm going to release audio 1. And then I will also be releasing behind that audio 2, which will take a bit longer because it's longer. Anyways, stay blessed. Thank you. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. If not, that's okay too. Always and foremost, it will always be about the missing and the murdered.
To me.
Right, I know.
Huh?
Yeah, I know you did.
Well, Malaya decided to talk to me, but then she talked to her lawyer and her Indian family, and they stopped her from talking to me.
Right.
So she changed her mind. So I went to the only other person. Now, there was a girl at the break during the morning of the search and everything that landed with Cindy and them.
Okay.
And this girl stated that she knew the kids were in. Now, she was supposed to be a psychic, so-called. She said she right in front of the cops, the Mounties, right in front of. Now, the big difference that's going on here, Sonny, is Janie McKenzie, Daniel's mother.
Right.
Won't talk to anybody.
Would you?
She made an interview. She gave the police a sworn statement, but she won't talk to anybody publicly or in the news or anything like that. Right?
Yeah.
Well, Janie McKenzie's been talking to me all along.
Oh.
And yes. And it was Janie McKenzie, and now she just gave me permission to say, I promised her, the first time I went in the yard to talk to Daniel, or here, well, it was this week. See, there's no phone reception right along there.
Okay.
So he's got to go up the road 500 yards one way or up a hill the other way to get phone reception. So when I have to see him, I'd have to go out. So I went out to confront Daniel about one thing that really bothered me the last time. I said to Daniel, you stated on television and everywhere. Now I can tell you don't believe me, and that's all right. I'm going to say
no.
I got to get this out.
Darren, it's not that I don't believe you. It's not. I apologize if the other day hurt you. It was just a matter of when we're saying something that somebody's saying and we don't have proof. It's just then we call it speculation. And
I know, but you called it more than speculation. You said when I talked to you the day before that it went over the line. It became absurd, and then you kept saying bullshit, and then Charmaine kept chiming in that was impossible and that didn't happen.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it sound like that. I was just meaning, it's just that it's hard for anyone to believe. Even, it's not that you're not doing your best. I know you're doing your best for Lily and Jack. I do. I know you're sincere in your intentions. It's just hard to believe that a month and a half later that all this is like you know.
I think we're over 2 months now, aren't we?
We're the second will be 2 months, but it's more that this case is so wacky that it's not a normal case. So that's the point of when I say it's going into orbit.
I guess.
Yeah. So it's not that I don't think that you're not doing everything. I know you're trying to do what's best for these children.
All right, we'll get this one. Now, this is my family I'm talking about, right? When I first headed into this, my cousin Patty requested me to look into this because she knew I knew Daniel, she knew I knew his family, the Mackenzies and all them over here. And she asked me if I heard anything, and if I did, I won't go into all the small particulars of it. I will at a later date.
Sure.
But it was Patty that requested I look into this, and this even before the kids disappeared. Patty asked me if I'd go over there and take Malay out of there with the kids, and I told her because she said Daniel was abusing her,
right?
And I said Patty, I can't do that. If Malaya calls me and says, look, Darren, he's hurting me and the kids, I want out. If Malaya herself did that, I would have.
Right.
But I told Patty I wasn't getting into their relationship without Malaya consenting for me to do it. No way. They were still living together, and if there was abuse, there's nothing I could do about it. But bottom line is here. All right, I already told you, and you already knew the part about Malaya going to meet with me and then backed out, and that's fine. The only other person that I could get a lead out of for who was driving the vehicle that supposedly transported the kids was Cindy, and I'll tell you why. Because the girl that was there, she was they're a very close friend of Malaya's other family, Haley Ferdinand, and this Shelby and Cheryl, other girls that are involved. There was a girl with them, and she claimed she was a psychic. Now this came from Logan. There was 5 people in on this conversation, plus Mounties standing right there. Why weren't they recording these conversations?
Right.
I don't get it.
Right.
So anyway, this girl stated that the kids were just being put in bed in New Brunswick, that they'd be safe, and that she was going to go up and visit them in a couple of days.
Oh.
Now, this is the testimony I got directly, ready, sworn testimony that went into the Mounties from Janie McKenzie, from Logan McKenzie, and from a couple other girls, but they never made statements to the Mounties about it, but they told me about it. So it all cooperated with me what they were saying. Now the Mounties, here's my deal. And oh, by the way, Cindy, I called Cindy.
Yeah.
She told me the first, I called her 2 days in a row. The first day she was right, she bawled and screamed and cried. She didn't care what I had to do. She said I was on the right track. If you could just give me those kids back, she said, do whatever I had to do.
Yeah.
I said okay, and I knew what I had to do then was press Malaya harder. Anyway, I called her back the second day, and all I wanted to tell her was, listen, Malaya backed out on me. Malaya was going to talk to me, but then she refused. Cindy wouldn't even let me talk. She said, Darren, I don't want you to say another word. I'm going to tell you right now, whatever Malaya did is all Malaya's fault, all Malaya's responsibility, and she'll have to pay the price for it. I'm washing my hands of it.
Right.
Now, that's her mother.
Yeah. I remember you saying that.
So that's my family that I'm going against here.
Yeah.
And when I was first called in there to look at this, I was sure for the first few weeks that Daniel was the killer. At least he did away with those kids. I was sure of it.
Right.
But it took a few weeks for Janie McKenzie to trust me enough, and all of a sudden, she broke loose last week and told me that she was in the trailer, that she wasn't supposed to be home, that she heard Malaya come out the back door with all 3 kids.
Oh.
And yes, all 3 kids, because she heard Jack babbling. She heard Lily started her little bit of screaming, and when Lily used to start screaming, Janie has a dog in the trailer that she keeps with her in her fenced-in yard.
Right.
And when Lily screams, the dog bites her.
Oh.
So yes. So the dog lit up. They heard Lily doing her little screaming thing. They heard Jack babbling. Then she said when the dog barked, all of a sudden, you could hear Malaya. She said she could hear Malaya going shush, shush, shush. So she quieted the kids down. She took them out the fucking drive. Excuse me, I didn't mean to swear. She took them out. I get excited.
I get it.
She took them out the driveway, and she still didn't know that Janie was home because Janie was supposed to be on a trip with her boyfriend.
Oh.
And by the way, now there's all kinds of speculation that I'm her boyfriend. Well, no, Janie's too dangerous for me. So anyway, Janie pulled her pants and boots on and wrestled with the dog for a minute to tie. She had to tie the dog up to her bed before she could get out of the trailer. By the time she got out of the trailer, she jumped out onto the driveway and walked right up behind Malaya. And Malaya was standing there with Meadow. Now, Meadow was in her arms this whole time.
Right, like you said.
Yep. And she walked right up behind Malaya. And Malaya looked at her right stunned. And you know my story. I think I told you that. The rest of the story from there on in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
Now, and by the way, my family was pretty dirty at me for a while when I proved. See, with Janie's testimony, and I didn't trust Daniel off the start when he told me this, and his version about how. And oh, by the way, that's when Janie was questioning Malaya at the end of the driveway. That's when Daniel was what fell back asleep, and that's when Daniel came out.
Okay.
When Daniel came out, Janie was standing there questioning Malaya. Malaya had the kid in her arms, and Daniel said, "What's going on?" Heard Janie, and he said, "Well, where's the kids?" Malaya looked at him and said, "They're in the woods." Daniel ran up in the woods, just like where their little play cabin is and their tree house is. He ran right through there, and that was what he said. He ran through the woods for 30 seconds because it just took him that 3
right.
And that would be okay.
Yeah.
He said he came run back in. He said, "The kids, where's the kid? The kids aren't there." And then Janie said to Malaya, "How long they've been gone?" Malaya said 20 minutes. So then it was Janie that sent Daniel out on the road with his van. She said, "You go cover the road, Daniel. I'm going through the woods." Janie headed up through the woods behind the little playhouse and that. Janie headed up through the woods. Daniel headed down the road, and they went all the way through to the next road. I think it's the Laird Road.
Right.
And Janie met Daniel at that road, and Daniel said, "Well, you know, they both asked, did you see them?" "No, we never saw them." And Daniel said, "Do you want to get in? I'll drive you back home." And Janie still wouldn't get. She went closer to the pavement and followed the Lansdowne Road all the way back again.
Oh. Well, so she only heard the kids, but she didn't realize that they were put into a vehicle at the time?
No, Janie never. This is why I told you this before. I think Janie missed that vehicle by about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I told you about me bluffing Hayden with the name of the person that I was pretty sure was in that vehicle.
Right.
And by the way, the reason I'm not contacting through Facebook is I've been cursing the Mounties activity in this pretty hard. And by the way, Jordan, I don't know if I should tell you this one.
Who's Jordan?
So, he's the head investigator for the major crimes unit.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Well, if this one's private, then it just stays private, if it is.
This conversation better stay private then, and I'll tell you one more thing.
Yeah, you know I won't put that out there.
I've been sitting all along in this. Jordan has been all over Daniel like a sheet, except for the last few weeks.
Right.
I've been sitting on conversations. Jordan gave Daniel his personal home number to call anytime he wants. I've been twice now. I've been trying to get a hold of anybody in major crimes. Now is the fourth day. This is the second time I tried to get a hold of them to give them something. And it's been since about 5 o'clock Saturday morning. Late Friday night, I got a message, and it was from a girl, and she said she wanted to contact me because she had information that would help me fix this.
Okay.
So, okay.
Yeah.
She said she had people around on the message. She was for some reason she didn't want to call right now, but that she was going to call her later when she was free, is what she said. Give me your phone number. I said, great. I give her the thumbs up, and I said, please do help me. So I waited and waited, no call, no call. So after a few hours, I sent her my phone number back to her saying, look, here's my number. You don't got to message me your number. You can call me anytime, okay? Mm-hmm. Well, she never called back. But this I wanted to give because her first name is the same and the same age and everything as one of Malaya's very good friends. So I wanted to give this, I wanted to, after Cindy threw me under the bus, told me, nope, whatever happens, happens, Malaya wouldn't talk to me. That's when I said, okay, good enough. And that's when I said I'd give everything from now on, Cindy, everything goes to the Mounties first.
Yeah.
That was Saturday morning at 5 o'clock. They have not called me back yet. But I did do this report Saturday morning, and I wanted this report that I was trying to get a hold of them because Jordan's been threatening me with charges, with withholding evidence, interfering with the investigation and all that shit.
Oh, has he?
So I wanted this, and I had some more information there that I wanted this documented, that I was trying to get a hold of somebody from the Major Crime Unit.
Right.
I called the Major Crime Unit. Oh, no, there's nobody here on Saturdays and Sundays. I said, so there's no major crimes get committed on Saturdays and Sundays? I was a little snotty with her. She said, well, what's it about? I said, it's about Lily and Jack Sullivan. I might have a little information here that I'm trying to give them information that I was warned if I got any information to give it to them, so I'm trying to give them some information. She says, oh, well, they're not in. I said, well, I need to speak to at least a Mountie because I need this documented that I'm trying to get a hold of them at this time with some information. She said, okay, I'll put you through to the Pictou detachment of the RCMP. I said, great. Right on the same phone call, girl says, hello, Pictou detachment, RCMP. I said, my name is Darren Geddes. I said, I'm trying to give a member some information, a tip, or whatever you want to call it, on the Lily and Jack thing. She says, oh, okay. She took my name, address, birth date, phone number. She says, there'll be a member in contact with you just in a few minutes, she said. I said, okay. 4 hours later, I'm sitting there, no phone call. So I thought to myself, all right, I'll grab my phone, keep it with me. I'll go find a Mountie. I drove around these 4 towns for 3 hours trying to find a Mountie. Not a sign of life out of the Stellarton detachment. No lights on, nobody in the windows, not a sign of life. So anyway, the last time I circled the Stellarton detachment, I was going up the road, didn't know what to do, towards Stellarton. About 400 yards up the road from the Stellarton detachment is the Sailor's Galley restaurant. There was 2 Stellarton cops, town cops, sitting in the restaurant. I pull in. I said, listen, boys, I got to get a statement. I want to get a statement verified here. I want to make a statement. I said, the main thing is I just need any cop to take a statement off me that I'm trying to give information about Lily and Jack Sullivan at this time. Because what I was scared of was that Malaya was starting to break. She was starting to send messages to people again. She was starting to communicate with Daniel again.
Was she?
And what I was scared of is that she was going to break.
Right.
And if she broke first,
right.
Well, I didn't want to be sitting there stuck with information, or I didn't want Jordan to be able to say they broke it first and then charge me with withholding evidence.
Right.
That's why I wanted to document it. I'm getting too loud, probably, am I?
Oh, it's fine.
Let me calm down.
No, I get it. I know you're doing this because you just want, you're doing it for the kids. Simple as that.
First I wanted to nail Daniel Martell because I wanted him nailed. If he hurt those fucking kids, I wanted him done.
Yeah.
And as I dug into it more and more and more, everything I found out cleared him.
Right.
More and more and more.
So
and so it came to the point with me that I had shown that people that are going to make sworn statements under oath in court are going to say that. And I always said I thought the kids were alive, but I know they were alive when they left Lansdowne that morning.
I really truly hope so.
Because if they weren't, the only time Daniel would have killed them would have been standing right in front of his mother and Malaya with the kid in her arms on the driveway.
Right.
Because that's the last time Janie heard and even probably saw them. I should have clarified. So, that's the last time Janie proved that they were there. Now, why would the cops know this? And keep...
Well, that's just it, Darren. Like, I don't understand. If there's all this information, how come the fucking RCMP can't find the damn kids?
That's why I'm calling the RCMP down to the fucking lowest. This should have been settled. This should have been settled within 2 days.
Yeah.
With the testimony they had, if they'd have been recording the fucking people that were testifying, all the people, especially the arguments that were going back and forth between family and family there. Especially when you've got a fucking girl there saying the kids are going to be in bed shortly, a nice warm bed, tucked in their nice warm beds in New Brunswick, and it was Janie that got right in her face, says, what the hell do you know about this? And she smirked at Janie, said, well, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there visiting them in a couple of days. And that's when Janie said, you guys get the fuck off my property, get out of here.
Well, why did Daniel say, Darren, that Malaya's family's blaming me for having something to do with it, and I want to take a polygraph? Because
they did all along. Because they did blame him all along. They did. They were sure it was him right from the start.
Okay. Really? But if
they were sure, because Daniel's abusive.
Right.
There's an abuse problem there.
Yeah. He
does have a temper, because I fucking tried it. I heard he had a temper, and I bugged him a few times and got him lit up. And he does have a very quick temper.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe there was abuse. I do believe there was neglect. I know there was. But that's not, I wasn't getting into that. That's not what my family asked me to prove. And besides that, like I said, when the abuse was going on, Malaya was still voluntarily living there, and staying there.
Well, it just doesn't make sense if Janie heard the kids and with Malaya. So it just, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is then why would they accuse Daniel of having something to do with it if Janie knew full well that Malaya was just with the kids?
Malaya never once said, and I don't believe even yet, Malaya has stated that Daniel has hurt the kids, and Malaya has stated that Daniel has acted strange around the kids. I challenge you to show me something where Malaya herself says Daniel killed the kids.
Right.
There's other family members that are sure, yes, Daniel killed the kids. But Malaya has never said it once, and because she knows it's not true.
She knows. Now.
Yes. Now I'm pressuring Malaya. Now I'm putting messages on Malaya, and I can't do it properly, and I'm telling you why. I'm sitting at Walmart right now, because I wanted to hit Dolly Vision first and tell them about me folding over on, like Cindy and Malaya, and I'm sure her mother knows. Cindy knows a lot more. That's why when I told Cindy, I'm sure one of the girls that was I have a name that I'm very suspicious of, and I said, I won't say it's concrete yet. The first day, and I said to Cindy, I said, I believe Malaya's half-sister on Joe Smith. See, Cindy had another husband prior, and his name was Joe Smith. He lives down in Tattamagush.
Right.
And that's another reason why I told you guys, and by the way, I never said, do you remember when we had, and look back on it, I said there's things I know and things I don't know. And when, I think it was Charmaine or something asked me, when I said, listen, those kids by now, and what I was saying, Jesus Christ, it's been 7 weeks, those kids by now, the Mounties have given them enough time. They could be anywhere from Tattamagush to Plattsburgh, New York. And that's when Charmaine lit up and said, oh, no, there's no way they could get through the States. See, right then I was saying, oh, listen, if they wanted to get through the States. So then the argument was, I wasn't saying they went across the border.
You were saying that they could have. And you know what? Bottom line is, Darren, they could have. It is not. Sure, they could have. It's not hard to come into fucking Canada. It's not hard to go across. Okay, there's this one guy in true crime. He's a piece of shit, and he fucking would come over to Canada all the time, sneaking in. So don't.
My two brothers are living in Alberta, and they take fucking drives down every 3 days.
Yeah. So
across range roads on farms. Farmers that own land on both sides of the border, and they drive across their range roads.
Yeah. I mean, I could personally see it myself. I know she couldn't, but I personally could. But
check this out for me. Because there's been a lot of comments of people after we had that talk, if you noticed. There's quite a few people that come on there, and some of them said, look, I have native status. And if the kid has native status and he's 16 or under, his status card will get him across the border. Now, the only problem I have with that, the only glitch I see in that, is that if they have to prove identification of their name and birth date and that to get native status,
right?
So they'd still have to have the name, I would think, now, unless somebody forged them or something, they'd still have to have the name Jack Sullivan or Lily Sullivan on them.
Right.
But the other thing is, they wouldn't have to go across the border together at the same time.
Right.
You know. But
I mean,
I'm not saying they went to the States.
Right.
I'm saying now the only reason I mentioned that is because the report from the hairdresser that reported to the cops in Plattsburgh, New York, and that's the only. I was being kind of a smart arse, but what I really alluded to was that the Mounties are taking so flying long to finish this that in 7 weeks you could be anywhere from Tattamagush, where Joe Smith lives on his old farm, where Haley Ferdinand is his daughter. And Hayden is and they're non-native status, and so my smart arse remark wasn't as much directed. I wasn't saying they were in the States or in Tattamagush, but I was saying with Joe Smith living in Tattamagush and Haley Ferdinand being, I'm sure, involved in this, and then the hairdressing report,
right.
And that's why I said they could be. It's been long enough now; they could be anywhere in the world, really.
Yeah. No.
But that's why I said that. But anyway, I want you to know my statement now stands. Everything I said stands, and I'm right. I know I'm right, and what I'm right about. The bottom line is people keep. And I've been in contact with Belinda, and she's great. And she understands. She's hoping I'm right.
Yes.
And I told her I understand why you would think that way, because she was pretty sure Daniel hurt the kids.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her for thinking that at all, because he was abusive.
Well,
it was escalating.
Well, let me ask you a couple things. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to ask this for my own self here.
Okay, because I don't have every little answer to every little aspect.
Of course you don't. I know.
Okay.
But there's hope.
Oh, there is a lot of hope.
Yeah, I mean, Belinda sees that there is, meaning when I was talking to her, she said, she had said to me, I think yesterday, she goes, well, she said, I can't remember exactly what she said, but basically it was to say, maybe Darren could be right, maybe, and I was just like, honestly, I know that, to her, I said, I truly hope and pray for you, Belinda, that this is true.
I don't want it. God love her. I know how much she loves those kids,
and
I know much of a pain in the arse her son has been in between this relationship, and I know it's a combination of her son and Daniel that keeps those kids away from her, and Belinda. No, Belinda's right on as far as I'm concerned. Even though she's skeptical of what I'm saying, I know she hopes what I'm saying is right. And she called me back, and she got contacted me back, and I didn't remember ever meeting her.
Oh, okay.
But I was over at Patty's at times, and she called me back, and she said, "Are you the guy I met over at Patty's there a few times?" And I said, "I don't remember, Belinda, what was going on?" And we talked a little bit, and she said, "Oh, I remember you." And there's nobody on God. After I met Janie McKenzie, listen, when I was younger, I already mentioned this, that the McKenzie family, his uncles and them, they're not to be freaked with. They're old, rough woodsmen, and there's especially one of them.
Right.
And I fought with them physically around when we were younger. And they're rugged bastards. But I'm going to tell you, I'm more scared. If I was going to get in a conflict, I'd rather get into it with 3 of them at a time than Janie, their mother, or their sister.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, she's one of those women, she's old-fashioned, she's hard, and she's true. And she'd blow a hole through you if you went too far with her so fast that unreal. And by the way, I've been where I lived, I've been asked to leave.
Really?
Yep. And when I went back to where my old home was in Foxbrook, where my exes and my sons are, my oldest son has grandkids, and he's been getting death threats, and he's been getting threats against the kids and that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he just violently attacked me yesterday over it.
Really?
So I'm not permitted to live there. So now I'm homeless. I just packed up a bunch of stuff again this morning. I'm sitting here in my half-ton truck at Walmart with all my clothes and everything in my truck, and I don't know where to go. And it's because, and you know mainly who it's because of?
Who?
One woman.
That psycho.
She said, she copied something I said, some stuff I said, and she told people on there, you look it up, she told people on there, there's something wrong with this guy. Oh, there's something wrong with this guy. And don't take this for 100% gospel, because my memory's getting shaky on little deals. I'm sure she said, this guy is so involved, I think he drove the vehicle that took the kids away.
Wow. Yeah, like crazy fucking lunatic.
Now, there's a lot of crazy lunatics listening to her.
Yeah. Well, no.
Now, there's people driving. There's people driving into the yard there in Foxbrook. And sitting in front of the house taking pictures right in the driveway. There's people harassing my young fellas. And I'm homeless.
So are you? So in saying that, then are you sure you really want to go on any podcast at this moment?
It's got to be finished.
Yeah.
The damage to me is already done.
What happened to your?
Malaya's got to pay for this. Malaya's got to get it. Malaya's fault in this is not that serious. The worst thing she is doing and did do is shut her mouth after she lied about them being in the woods and after she lied about them being abducted.
Right.
See, when she lied about them being in the woods, she triggered the search. The Mounties got there a hell of a lot quicker than she thought they would. Then, later on from that, after the search had already started, I believe it was the second day, she changed her mind and said it was an abduction. That triggered the criminal search, the criminal investigation. So those two lies are what totally screwed her. Because up to that point, she never really did anything illegal. She wanted out of there. She was shipping the kids out of there, regardless of whether Daniel knew or not. You know, he was in bed sleeping. Actually, I think she was making a good move because he was violent. She was scared of him, didn't want a confrontation. So she was trying to get out of there. And if it hadn't been for Janie being home in the trailer, she would have got out of there.
But in saying that, Darren, of course, she's the one that's made millions of dollars be spent because of her lies.
That's what I'm saying. That's why she's shutting up now. That's why her lawyer.
Yeah.
Her lawyer. I was on the phone when Malaya was packing to leave the reservation and come and talk to me at Patty's. And I heard a guy saying, I'm sure, the family was telling her, don't go, Malaya, until you talk to your lawyer, get legal advice on this. Don't leave the reservation because you've got some protection here. And that was Henry Brooks and her family. And then some guy came in, and Malaya just looked at him, and he said, where are you heading, Malaya? What's your plan here? She said, I'm going to talk to my cousin, my grandmother's cousin. I'm going to talk to Darren. He said, and then he started to say, I strongly advise you, and then the phone hung up. And what Hayden told me, that's Malaya's sister, that's how I communicated with Malaya, was through her brother Hayden, who was still living at Patty's.
Right.
And Hayden told me, no, she, as soon as the lawyer came in and her family was there, she changed her mind and shut down.
Yeah, and that's too bad. Well, I mean, she knows.
I was trying to help her. I told Patty and them, here's what I do. And I know this is wrong, as far as the law goes. I said, if Malaya doesn't come out, I said, and tell the truth, it's getting harder on her every day. I said, if she comes out and tells the truth that she panicked and told a couple lies, well, she's still going to be responsible. I would say they'd probably still charge her for at least filing some false reports and stuff like that, making false accusations. But I said, I wouldn't be worried too much about that with Malaya. But what Malaya's got to realize is those two lies, number one, cost her kids, because she'll never get them again. CPS, when they do get them, she'll never get them back, including Meadow. And I said, number two, what she's got to realize is there's a very good possibility she could be responsible for one of the most financially damaging searches in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I mean, they even had a satellite in on that after the first 3 days. How much does that cost?
Yeah, well, that's just it. Now, that's just it. So, like, I mean, it's just, what I still don't get in all of this is, like, it's one thing to leave an abusive relationship and you go to your family, right? Because no matter what, your family is your family, even if you don't like your mom for the... But to sit there and have someone get the kids and then, say, put them in hiding and then not even at any point come forth at any point to admit to it is just crazy.
I'm there with you. I'm there. I've been fighting with her, trying to get her either to admit to it to the cops. But the reason now I don't have an answer for you.
I
sometimes I probably act like I have all the answers, but I don't.
I know.
And I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer to that one. She should have come out at least by the second day. She should have calmed down a little bit and told the truth, because I mean she's standing in the middle of 160 searchers and dogs and helicopters and drones and mounted. Jesus Christ!
Right.
She should have opened her mouth then. And now it's on legal advice that she's not opening her mouth. And as far as I'm concerned, the lawyer is killing her.
Probably.
The lawyer, I mean, okay, you educate an idiot, you have an educated idiot. You train a monkey, you got a trained monkey.
Yeah. Well, you know,
so those are answers my God. But listen, I'm telling you, it's the truth, and I wish you'd start accepting it smoother, because you're gonna, when it does come out, that's what's going to come out.
It's not that I don't accept it. It's honestly, Darren, it's not that I'm not. Honestly.
And don't forget, you don't realize, nobody realizes how bad I hammered Daniel for the first 2.5 weeks of this.
Oh no!
I mean, I gave him a fuck of a hard time. I reamed him, and he hung in there for it. His own mother, do you know what, Janie, the first thing she told me? Well, the first thing she told me, I'm not fucking talking to you, why are you here? And I said, well, I'm Darren Geddes. I said, I've been talking, Daniel and I have been sort of conferring on this.
Yeah.
She said, I'll get him, but she said, I'm not saying a word to you. And I said, no, Janie. I said, you don't want to talk, or don't. I said, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what she really knew by that point, other than what Daniel told me. And I wasn't pushing Janie at all. So Daniel and I sit down to have a talk, and like I told you, the point I wanted to clear up is, if you knew the kids, if you knew Malay did something to the kids out the end of the driveway, why the fuck were you running through the woods? And he said, well, I wasn't really running through the woods that much, I just didn't want Malay to look like a liar. I said, holy fuck, Daniel.
Right.
And I know his stuff is spun around. I've given him shit for stuff coming up different, new stuff popping up. I've given him shit for that. But Daniel's not that fucking bright.
No.
And neither is Malaya.
No, they're not.
They're two. What would you say? I don't know. I don't want to insult them, but you got my idea.
Yeah, the light doesn't go to the top of the Christmas tree. I get it.
No, they're a lot younger. They're a lot younger in their brains than they are in their bodies.
Yeah.
I would say they're the equivalent of about 16-year-old kids right now. That's what they are.
What I don't understand, though, is, like I said, if the RCMP have this information, there's, like, digital data, there's...
Oh, I know what I was going to tell you about the RCMP, that to explain... Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go away. I know there's a lot of stuff. I know.
Well, that's all I was going to say. I just don't get that.
Okay, when Janie heard Daniel and I talking twice, right? And she pulled up a lawn chair and she looked me right in the face. She said, I don't want him saying anything to you that I don't want to hear. And I said, great, Janie, me neither. Great. Great. And I said, great. So Daniel was telling me stuff, and Janie was disagreeing with him. They argue, they bicker constantly, Janie and Daniel. They bicker about anything. They bicker about how much toothpaste to put on a toothbrush. It's unbelievable. And I mean, they get mad at each other. The second time I was there, Janie looked at me and she said, do me a favor, big fella. I said, what's that? She said, beat the fuck out of him until he listens to me, will you? That's her son. And I said, well, Janie, I think I'll hold back on that. I'm a little too old for that. And I said, the young fellow will probably give me a hell of a hard time. and that's the way Janie is. And that's really the way she is.
Yeah.
And I know that not from Janie, but I know that from my My woman / landlord, who I was renting a room off and being with, that's the woman that just asked me to leave, and I agreed with her. She was getting fucking, her family's getting, don't forget, Logan is her granddaughter.
Logan is Janie's granddaughter?
No, Logan is my woman's granddaughter.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, of course.
Gotcha.
And there's other people like.
Did you say that
my
in
woman's
Dolly?
I don't even want to say her name. My woman's kids are very techie, and they've been screaming and yelling about the stuff on the online, on YouTube, and threats and everything coming in. And, I mean, they're putting pictures of my fucking house on there now. They have been the last while.
Oh, really?
And the address and all that stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I went to with my. Listen. And people saying I never went to the cops. Fuck, I don't know, man. I went to major crimes. I went to the Stellarton cops, and I went to the Westville cops over this stuff, because major crimes wouldn't fucking... all right, here's the best part of this one now, and you can believe it or not. I don't. I want you to believe it because it's true. That's the only reason I want you to believe it.
It's not that I don't believe you. Just please get it through your head. It's not that I don't believe you, Darren. It's not about that at all.
I think it's more like you almost can't believe me.
No.
More can't than don't. That's the way I see.
It's not.
But that's just.
It's not that. Trust me. I
understand that we see things. Everybody sees things differently. So don't you worry about it, because I'm not worried.
Honestly, I just fight for Jack and Lily. That's it.
Right.
That's it.
That's what I'm trying to get. That's what I'm trying to get through. That's what I'm trying to get through. That's what I want to bust fucking Malaya for. Where are these kids?
Yeah.
Spit it out. Come on. If you can't tell us where the kids are, for fuck's sake, tell us who you handed them off to.
Well, that's what.
So that I can.
Sorry, you were talking about Janie, but then you were talking about the RCMP, and you said.
Here we go. But this George, after about, I was 3 weeks into this, actually closer to 4 weeks, I guess, and my timelines aren't perfect right down to the day or the hour,
I know.
because there's been so much going on in my head and going on. But what Jordan, the head officer here for the major crimes unit, doesn't know, he gave Daniel his personal phone number right off the start. And he was just so fucking intent on nailing Daniel, which I can understand.
Right.
He thought Daniel was a fucking child murderer. Fine and dandy.
Right.
Go after them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what he didn't understand is once Daniel gained my trust, and I gained Daniel's trust, every time Daniel would call Jordan to report something, or every time Jordan would call Daniel to talk to him, I was sitting there fucking listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And the last few times, even Janie trusted me enough. Janie and I and Daniel sit and listen to what he was telling Daniel. Now, if you want to hear a bunch of schoolyard moron, there he is. Do you know what he told them? Do you know what he told us, me and Janie and Daniel sitting yesterday? Do you know what he told us?
What?
Daniel said, listen, Jordan, I'm telling you, Darren does know what he's doing. He does know a lot about this, and he knows what he's doing, and I trust him. Mm-hmm. He said, you don't trust this Darren Geddes guy. He said, I've been trying to verify for a week. I don't think he's even really related to the family.
Really?
Now, if they can't tell, he was calling me down that I was nothing but a fucking loon and that I was looking for the reward. And listen, if the government of Canada wants to give me $150,000 in the end of this, do you think I'd turn it down? I'll take some of my income tax money back.
Yeah, right.
But at the same token, I've been in this for 5 fucking weeks before there was any reward offered. I never saw any reward coming.
I was going to say, you were talking before the reward.
Oh, way before.
I know.
And not talking on social media way before and stuff like that, but I mean, I was leaving a lot of people in their family.
Wow.
Anyway, that's what I got to say. It's all Malaya's lies that started this. It's the incompetence of the RCMP that's keeping it going, and Cindy's in on it. Now, that's all I was going to tell Dolly, and I want you can write that down. If I don't get a hold of you online, write that down for me right now and spit it out. Say that I claim it was all Malaya's lies that started this. That as far as I'm concerned, her mother knows a lot more about it. That Daniel's innocent of murder. He could be guilty of other stuff. You can write it down. Daniel's guilty of other stuff. Mm-hmm. Possible abuse. But It's all Malaya's lies that started this ball of shit, and it's all RCMP incompetency and arrogance that kept it going this long. And that I thoroughly believe Cindy, or Malaya's mother, knew a lot more than.
Well, that's just two things. So, does Logan know 100% if there was abuse between Daniel and Malaya? Does she know? Since she seems to be.
No, she claims there's not, but I don't take Logan's advice on that for gospel, because Logan is very, very pro Daniel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Now, as for Cindy, like, it's just like, how would she even let her daughter come back home if she thought she had anything to do with those kids? It would be like, Malaya, you either.
I can only speculate what happened. The day before, I called Cindy 2 days in a row. And by the way, Malaya was there the first time I called, and I didn't know.
Yeah, you said, okay. Oh.
And I heard Malaya in the background right before Cindy hung up on me, and I'm sure what she said was, "Mom, it's Darren. I want to talk to him." Oh. And Cindy said, "No way," and slammed the phone down. Now, that's right after she was bawling and crying to me.
Right, the day before.
10 seconds before that, telling me to get the kids home. There's the other thing. Why would Cindy be so sure I could get the kids home if they were dead? She said, "I just want the children back in the family." Well, that ticked me off right there.
Look to your daughter.
Now you tell me your daughter's it's your daughter, and you're telling me that you're living with her for a while again, and you're telling me and visiting her constantly with the kids, and you're telling me your daughter does something like this and doesn't at least come a little clean with you, or at least you know.
Right.
Come on.
Well, right. Well, So what's your plan then today?
My plan today, that's all I got, is I wanted to release this. I wanted to tell you that why I don't trust the RCMP. Well, I know I don't. The RCMP, they're lying bastards is what they are. They're incompetent, they're arrogant, and I know it. And what I say at the end of my comments now is that everybody who disagrees with me and tells me that the RCMP are the best police force in the world, well, remember Port-au-Pete. And then I can tell you another half a dozen cases around here where the RCMP fucked up so bad it was unbelievable. Yeah. So I'll tell you a good one. My best buddy's place up in Spring Hill, he's got a cottage by Poison Lake, it's called, outside of Spring Hill. Yeah. There's a skidoo club up there. He skidoos up there with some boys. They were skidooing along the Poison Lake Road here about 3 months, maybe 4 or 5. Or anyway, right in the middle of winter. And one of the guys got hurt on the skidoo, rolled his skidoo. So they dragged the guy up out of the edge of the road, out of the whatever field or whatever, or brook, dragged him up on the edge of the road, called emergency services, right? The fucking Mounties, there were a couple Mounties come up there and took charge of the site, right? They called the fire truck, and the fire truck and ambulance were coming anyway, right? Yeah. They let the fire truck and the ambulance onto the fucking site. The guy in the fire truck was loaded fucking drunk and ran over the guy and killed him. Oh, wow. And I can name names, and that's just the last one. Right, wow. And I've been in, but anyway. Yeah. So the Mounties to me, and especially this Logan, I'm zeroing in on him after the phone calls and everything that I heard, what he said, what he was telling Daniel, and what he was saying about me. All right, here's a good one. Here's another good one he just finished telling us on the phone, the last phone call. He told Daniel, he said, listen, he said, I would really appreciate it if you didn't appear on any more social media or any more interviews. Right. And Daniel said, well, I'm just trying to keep this thing alive, he said. I'm just trying to keep this thing going. And you know what he told him? He said, well, every time you do an interview or that fucking Darren Geddes opens his mouth, he said, we start getting tips. And he said, we don't want any more tips because we already know it all. Oh, well, then where's the kids? That's exactly. Well, then. If you already know it all. Why isn't... That's right. Yeah. If you already know it all. And I'm sure the only reason Malaya hasn't been arrested yet is they're surveilling her pretty heavy because they think she might lead them to the kids, and they want to be the fucking heroes that find the kids. Oh, of course. They don't want anybody, especially me. They don't want me to find those kids. Oh no, they want to be the heroes for sure. Yep. So just to ask you, if you don't mind, Darren, just to ask you, like, because obviously, we've had this conversation. So is it one of those things that there's nothing I can say, really, about this conversation at all? And what? Yeah, you can say everything. You can say everything you want about this conversation. Sure. I hope you do.
Okay. Are you sure?
Please, fire away.
Well, except for the stuff about Jordan, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want to talk about that.
No, don't say I was in on those conversations, because that'll fry Janie and Daniel. That'll give them a lot. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that part. No.
Yeah.
Now you just made me trust you a little bit more, because that would have been bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do apologize if the communication was wrong that way. I was honestly, like I said, it's not that I don't believe you. I know it's hard to understand that this case is wacky Jones, and I truly want what you're saying to be true, meaning.
Well, Sonny.
Yeah.
Sonny, I apologize as well.
I
really do. I might have jumped the gun, because I've been very highly stressed over this. This is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I've been. Yeah.
I had 2 scraps over this with guys.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, and I mean, I'm an old man. I'm still. I got maybe 30 seconds in me, but after that, I get tired too quick.
Yeah.
And these young guys, they're not. But anyway, never mind that shit. But no, I thank you for what you just said about. I said, yeah, go ahead, and you said, well, not about George. That I appreciate that, because that would have been a big mistake.
No, I don't want to put I only want to ever put what somebody is allowing me to put out there. Not
look. Just the way it is, tell them, look, everybody says how Daniel's been feeding me information and I've been sucking it up, and then I'm Daniel's boy and I kiss his boots and all that. Listen, it's just like Janie said, if I found that kid guilty, I'd have fucking wrecked him.
Right, and I do understand that, because I know a lot of what you've said is what Daniel's already said, but then again, I also know that if you thought Daniel had something to do with it, and then everything pointed to actually it's not Daniel, then obviously you're going to be helping him on his side, because if you feel like everything's pointing towards Malaya have done something to these kids based on all your information, it's understandable.
And don't forget, Daniel and Logan and his family was giving me information all along, except for Janie. She just started lately. But don't forget, my family wasn't giving me nothing. Other than my cousin saying that Daniel was abusing her and she wanted out of there, and they were sure he did away with the kids. That's all I could get, because Malaya wouldn't open her mouth and Cindy wouldn't open her mouth to me.
Yeah.
So everything I got through my family, I had to get through somebody else, and then I had to double check it with somebody else who was there as a witness and somebody else who knew something to even get a really good idea what was going on. So it was hard to drag information out of my and Malaya and Cindy are still not right to this point.
The whole pathetic part out of all of this is that why is Belinda is the one that's fighting? Okay, so again, I mean,
exactly.
Obviously, but why is she?
Because she loves the kids,
right? Why isn't Malaya? Why isn't the grandmas? Why aren't those people? Why are those people all shut up over on that side?
Malaya and Cindy. I'll tell you this: the great Patty, the grandmother of them all.
Yeah. She's
beat up so fucking bad. Listen, she says to me, I go over there a couple of weeks ago, and Hayden, the little fellow that's living there, he was getting mouthy. He called me and said and demanded that I tell him everything I know. Now, Patty was scared. Later on, I went back over to see Hayden, because I wanted to get Hayden to trust me, because he could communicate with Malaya when she was on the reservation. So I went in and I told Patty, I want to take Hayden for a drive. Patty was scared. She thought I was going to take him out and finish him, fix him up. And I had to promise her he'll come back without a scratch on him if he doesn't act up. So me and Hayden went for a drive, and that's when I convinced Hayden to trust me enough that I wanted to, that I already knew Daniel never killed the kids.
Yeah. That
I needed Malaya to talk to me, that she'd save herself a lot of trouble and probably save herself some jail time and everything else down the road if she talked to me. And I said, and to tell you the truth, I said, look, maybe we can work out a scheme to get her off on some of this stuff that she's going to get nailed for. And I said, if she talks to the cops, they're going to nail for everything that they can get her for.
Now,
but I said if he talks to me, I might be able to help. And he did. He believed me that I was trying to help her, and that's why he called her on the reservation and asked her to talk to me, and that's why she agreed. And okay, you know the rest of that.
Yeah. Now, what was I just gonna say? Shit, I was just gonna say something. Darn it!
I've told you all I know and probably more. I can't.
I was gonna say. I mean, it's like it's probably not wise to say anything that Janie said either. Do you think?
No, I'll tell you why. The first 2 times I talked to Janie, the second time she really let loose. And the second time she said to me, the first time she said not too much to me, but quite a little bit. The second time she let go with everything. And this is right in front of Daniel, and she let go there and was pointing out all around the yard, right exactly where she saw Malay, exactly where Malay was standing, exactly the baby in her arms, the footprint beside the trailer, the footprint beside the road, the reason why there was only one footprint beside the trailer, all this stuff. And she said, but I don't do fucking interviews. She said, I told the cops all this in a statement. They got it all. But I'm not doing these fucking interviews because there was people, CBC was coming in there trying to bribe her with fucking muffins. Earl, her husband, her ex-husband, Daniel's father is a small guy, but he used to be a pretty bad alcoholic, and they were offering him rum and fucking beer for information.
Actually, to be honest with you, we have that in a text message from Daniel.
Well, good. I'm glad you do.
Like, meaning, so there's a few of those text messages that I know have kind of got lost along. Like, not lost. We have them, but they haven't.
I'm glad you have that from another source, even though it's Daniel. At least you know. I might be online a little bit, you know.
Wow.
So no, I'm glad you have that, and that's what was pissing Janie off the bed, and she was ordering them off the property. She said when the first time I pulled in the driveway, she charged right at the truck. Who the Jesus are you? What do you want, a goddamn interview? What are you, a podcaster? No, Janie, no. The third time. The second time, Janie told me again, warned me again, boy, if I hear anything that I'm saying turn up on a goddamn podcast or YouTube or somewhere, she said, I'll know where it came from. And she said, I'll blow a fucking hole through you. And I said, good enough, Janie, no problem. So I shut my mouth. The last time I talked to Janie, you know what she said? She said, let her fly, Darren. If you want to use my name, go the fuck ahead. She said, just find the kids.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so...
I just went over in my mind exactly what Janie said to me again. She said, yep, I don't give a fuck, Darren, she said, anymore. I got nothing on. I lost my kids. What the fuck, she said. Let her fly. So, yeah, let her fly.
Okay. The internet can be very, 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 very nasty.
That's what my youngest son, he said, Dad, you got to understand. He said, you got us in a lot of shit. And he said, the internet can be ferocious, he said.
Oh, ferocious is...
See, they know more about it than I do, a lot more about it than I do. And I'm trying to learn quick, but...
Well, that's... honest. Yeah, and it was too bad that you gave out your name, because that's something you should never do. Like, meaning, those little hounds are going to try to get at you, but honestly, I know that you don't know the internet, like, meaning, I know that it's not been your cup of tea, but I've spent 5 years just in true crime, and people will put up your address if they can get it, and the minute
they got everything there. They got pictures of my home, they got videos of my, not my home, because I have, and that fucking thing, and there's the other thing, they're saying it's where I live. I haven't lived there 9 years.
Right, because
that's where my ex and my sons live.
Yeah, and that's why, like, when you said your name and you literally said it, and to everybody, I'm like, oh my God. Because that just made it probably...
Yeah, but I was getting called a liar and all that shit, and I wanted to say, look, I'm not fucking hiding anything here. Let's get it on.
Well, it's kind of...
And that was...
Yeah, I mean, it's so, like, even when that, on the other night, right? Again, I was upset because in my heart, I was like, oh my God, Belinda is, going to be so upset. right? That you were saying factual, that it's factual they disappeared. Her daughter was upset, clearly, that Chelsea that was in the room as well. And she goes, I really do not want my mother to see this. And I was like, well, Chelsea, your mom is a strong woman. You know, she's been nothing. She absolutely is. She, like, I can't even speak highly enough about, she has never wavered from anything I've ever said to her.
Nope.
She's just always been like, here you go,
and she's had a lot of difficulty with her son.
Yeah.
I know.
At the end of the day, it's her son. It doesn't matter, right? We know this.
Yeah.
You could be Chris Watts, the one that killed his wife and kids. It's still... he's still the son of his mom and dad, no matter what they do.
A mother's love is the hardest one to break.
A mother's love. That's what I try to teach my son.
It's the hardest. That's the deepest love.
He'll start learning, because I always try to teach him that a mother's love is unconditional.
That's the same way with Janie and Daniel.
Yeah.
I've been telling Daniel in conversations, they'll start bickering back and forth. And Daniel get disrespectful, and I told him quite a few times, if I was you, I'd shut your fucking face and listen a little more. And we got into it a little bit over, well, she's saying this and she's saying that. I said, listen, she's your fucking mother. A lot of the times, Daniel, you're better off just to shut your face.
Yep.
And I said, even if she's wrong, she's right. That's what you got to start looking at, because she's your mother, and you owe her. If she's making mistakes or doing so, even if she is. Yeah. Let her be wrong, but don't fight with her. Fuck no, nothing good comes out of it.
I know. Unfortunately, life is always hindsight for everything, sadly.
Oh, I'm getting a call. I'm gonna have to go.
Okay, Darren.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.